Hi guys, welcome to part 1 of the catfishing duck blind boat build. This boat is going to start its transformation from just a plain old John boat into what I'm going to call my personal preference of the ultimate catfishing duck blind boat. I'm going to have this set up for me and the few people that I go out with so that it fits us comfortably and how we want things moved around and set up. Tonight I'll be installing the floor in this boat to be able to cover those ribs up on the bottom of the boat and make it a smooth floor so that there's no trip hazards, or be able to put the cooler in here and you don't have to worry about setting it in between these or between the ribs or across the ribs and balance it. Be able to have an open floor all the way across. Set our chairs up wherever we want them at to be able to fish out of it. So it'll be my first part of this series. In next couple of videos in this series, I'll be putting in a LED light bar on the front, and it's not a normal light bar. I think you guys will like that one. I'm just waiting on a few pieces to come in so I can fab that up to put that together. I have a couple lights to put in inside the boat. I have a switch panel to put in, and I'm going to actually build a switch box for that. If you guys have a John boat, a tiller style John boat, and you're not sure where to put a switch box or a switch panel at, or where it might be hard for you, I've always would like it to be in front of the seat right by the driver's side, but I wasn't quite sure how to do that. But I come across a good way to do it and have kind of designed that to be able to do that. I'll be building that here in the next couple days and putting that in. So like I said, I have a lot of ideas that I'm going to put in this boat, and I'll be putting out a video here hopefully about every 4 or 5 days. Currently I'm putting down this pink foam board in between the ribs, so that way it'll be flush across the top of that, so you don't have to trip over that anymore. You lay the cooler in here or anything else, you can sit right across the top of it rather than trying to straddle in between it, or you can put anything anywhere just about. Our chair, I put chairs in here. So to cut this foam board here though, I have this board here and clamps. I measure it out from the edge over to however deep those ribs are, however wide those ribs are, and then use an oscillating saw here to cut it. Just a little vibrating saw, just got a normal blade on it. Cuts that stuff like butter. Nice and easy. I've seen people score them and snap them, but this seems to work just as well. And then we're going to put plywood down on top of that. I have just normal 3/8 inch plywood, 4x8 sheet, using Australian timber oil to seal that plywood though. This can here is about, I think it was $11 at the local hardware store. Well, here's the finished product, partial finished product, and it will be getting sealed with that Australian timber oil. I'll be putting that on here tonight, but it takes 24 to 48 hours to dry, and I'm going to do both sides, so it'll be a couple days before that actually gets put back in. Probably today's Friday morning, about 5 o'clock in the morning. I worked tonight, Friday night, so Saturday night, Sunday morning I'll be putting the plywood back in the boat and fasten it down, but kind of give you guys what it looks like with the board or the plywood in there. It's nice and smooth. Going across here, I got my one seam here, right here in the back of the boat. I put the seam on the back side rather than on the front side, because up here is curved. It's got a curve here, kind of comes up a little bit in the front, and I didn't want that seam coming across the front here, because I want that to bow and bend, because this is actually sticking up off the ground, so it's wanting to stick straight, but I can get it to touch when I put my weight down in it. And I'll fasten that down to those ribs going across there to make it where I can still take it out. to wash that mud and sand out, but I'll do that after I get the Australian timber oil on there. There is pockets here alongside the floor. You know, they're okay. It'd be fairly, it won't be watertight, but it'll be fairly tight where a lot of that sand and mud won't get down through underneath of there. But anything gets in there when I get back after fishing or duck hunting and warms up or dries out, I can take the shop vac, the wet vac, and vacuum out that sand or anything that gets down in there. You know, and eventually I'll have to take it out to wash the bottom of the boat out, but it'll be removable. Maybe not quite quick and easy, super quick or super easy, but it won't be a lot of effort to take it out. I'm gonna put a piece of aluminum angle up here on the front, this front bench in the floor, just to cover that gap, the little gap up there. I'll show you. More or less just to hold it down a little bit better, you know, to cover that up. Put that right across here. As you see, there's just, it's not a big gap, there's just less than a 1/4 inch gap across the front there, but just to cover that seam up. I'll put that there, and then I'll put a piece of flat bar aluminum across this seam here just to cover the seam up. On the back here, I drilled some holes. I left the foam board out of the back, this little 2.5 inch slot in the back. We won't be stepping on that at all. I mean, it's kind of tucked up underneath the bench here. But so I didn't put anything in there. I left that a little bit of drainage and drilled the holes in top of each rib on the bottom of the boat just to give it a little extra water passageway to get the water off the floor and get it back to the back, you know, in the channels going to the back of the boat to be able to pump out or drain out when it gets there. And there's the pocket. You'll see the pocket here on the side. It's an 1.5 inch or 1.5 inch foam board and then 3/8 plywood. And then it only comes over 1 inch from this plywood to the edge of the boat where it sits at. So it's not a big pocket there, but it is a pocket, and it will accumulate some dirt and sand. So, but I'll do a follow-up video after I get the Australian timber oil on it and get it mounted back down. So I'm gonna leave this video off here. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.